Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Three Girls, One Track. We're
Welcome
covering...
back, welcome back, welcome back. Okay,
Wow. Anyway, we are covering the Imola race weekend this week. I'm your podcast host, Afsa.
I'm Felicia.
I'm Bex.
And we're Three Girls, One Track. Girlies,
What?
how do we feel in general, before we get into the specifics, about the Imola race weekend?
One of the, I think so far, the best race.
I enjoyed it.
I think it was the best composed package.
Yeah.
Of the race weekend.
It was the most complete weekend
When you say,
we've gotten.
Got you. Okay. I was about to say, when you say composed package, I meant, what did you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Something that made it even funner, me and Bex were both taking notes in the note sheet at the same time. So it was also like watching each other's live reactions to things.
Y'all are
I
wild.
thought it was very funny.
It's so funny because when I just logged in, I was like, oh, I'm going to take notes. And I just see, I was like, oh, wait, there are notes here. And I was like, oh, hi, Afsa.
You're crazy.
I was taking my notes.
I need to start taking my notes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Nah,
You
I put them on my phone. I put them on my phone.
Whatever.
That way I can react to whatever y'all are talking about in live time.
That's true.
Because I'm the one that doesn't know. I'm learning.
That's true.
Still?
Yeah.
Yes, baby.
Y'all have been watching this stuff for years. Calm down.
She's a baby. Leave her alone. All right. Let's hop into it with our Project Runways and what not to wears. As you know, listeners, Bex is protesting, so we're going to ignore her.
Fight the power.
We're going
Okay,
to ignore her ass. And we're going to talk about me. Okay. So I'm going to start with my what not to wear, because I think that my Project Runway is a bit shocking and, quite frankly, questionable.
Shocking? Questionable? Oh, I'm concerned.
My what not to wear.
Okay.
Is Lewis Hamilton. In these fuck-ass camo pants. And red Ferrari team kit shirt.
Yeah.
What the fuck is... And the shoes, the bowling shoes to go with it?
No, but you know what's killing me is the cash box briefcase.
And I would honestly, if he had worn like a red jumpsuit with this, I'd be like, ooh, Mission Impossible, you know?
Like, you know that all red outfit he wore?
Yes, he should have worn that.
Yup, I could have dealt with that.
I don't even know what this is.
I didn't know they made platform bowling shoes.
Kim Illman lying and calling this fashionable wear? What are we doing here?
I didn't know they made platform bowling shoes.
Neither did I. What? And I need to go to Amazing Lou and see where the fuck those shoes are from, because what is this, honey? What is this?
Lou, this is the first like real outfit you've given us, or semblance of a real outfit you've given us, and this is what you give us?
Do you think Ferrari's tells him that he has to wear a Ferrari team kit shirt? Because he's only worn the team kit shirt since Australia.
Well, you also do know that Ferrari is its own fashion brand.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, couldn't they give him a more fashionable Ferrari shirt than the team kit? Sometimes they give him like team kit that's clearly been edited, like they'll add a collar to it, or they'll pipe some extra stuff on it.
But he had like that.
Couldn't they give some extra stuff? You know, some good things, like good fashion. I'd love that.
I don't know. I personally think he's been phoning it in because he's so frustrated and worried about the car and can't think about anything else.
He was still fashionable that first year that Merc was dog shit.
Yeah, because he didn't know any better.
2022.
Well, I mean, okay, so when he first went to Mercedes, was he wearing his kit or was he doing his fashion thing?
That's when he started his fashion, really went full send, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he didn't have any time where he was just wearing the Mercedes kit? Because I'm like, maybe his first
he
year
probably
he wants
did
to really get into it. Like, they did make those limited edition pants that he wore, so I'm like, so clearly y'all are willing to work with him and make something else, so I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't even know. And then I think that everybody's going to disagree about my Project Runway. And honestly, even I disagree about my Project Runway, but I'm going to give it to somebody. And that somebody is Mr. Liam Lawson.
Huh?
That is Mr. Liam Lawson in the Canadian tuxedo. And listen, the reason why I'm going
Wait, your Project Runway. Okay, never mind. Continue.
and the reason why I'm going to give him my Project Runway is because I think that he, with a couple of hem changes, right? We changed the lengths to some of these things. This is a great outfit. I think if this is a hits at the belt white top, and then he brings this jacket up with it, I think this improves.
My bad. Can you say that one more time for me, baby?
I'm saying that I think the hemlines on all of his stuff is wrong.
Okay.
But I think that if he just took this to a tailor and cut a few inches off the top, I think it works. I think it's fine. Like, I think it's doing enough.
Hold on one second, because I need to look at this with my eyes again. Hold on, because I know we can't be looking at the same outfit.
We're looking at the same outfit.
No, we're not. There's not a shot in hell, because I know you can dress. I know you have a sense of fashion. So what is happening, honey? Also, you want him to get a button-up white tee tailored?
No, not I'm talking about like if he chose not literally this top. I'm saying if he chose.
He looks like he got into his big brother's closet,
which is why he needs to change the hems on it,
or buy clothes that are actually his size.
Listen, we love Lewis in an oversized fit.
This is not giving Lewis in an oversized fit.
No, but
like I said, this is giving Big Brother's closet.
Listen.
Anyway.
I had to pick something.
Okay, so bouncing off of that, he is my what not to wear, because I hate this outfit. I don't understand you, my dear. I love you, but I don't understand.
I mean, I never said it was great.
But this is your Project Runway?
What else, bro? I mean, you're about to tell us what else.
Precisely. Sir Kimmy Antonelli.
I didn't see Kimmy's outfit.
The adorable baby boy from Bologna. I like the jacket, if I'm being honest. Oh, you can't see it.
No, I can see it. The jacket is cute. I'll give you that the jacket is.
I prefer this to Liam's fit. I don't even know what the hell Liam's even wearing. At least his clothes fit him.
I just didn't think Kimmy did enough, you know?
I also love Kimmy's choker that he always wears. I think he's just a happy boy.
That is true. He serves energy.
Guys, wait, are we talking about this in the news segment?
We're talking about it in the news segment.
Okay.
All right.
I love how you automatically knew what I was talking about.
Yes. Since Bex is protesting,
that is it for this segment.
That is it for this segment, and we're gonna hop right into our hashtag news, and we can start with what Felicia wanted to talk about. Felicia, kick it.
Kimmy took his class on a field trip to the Grand Prix.
That he did.
It was so cute. They were like playing soccer in the paddock. I was like, "Aw, Kimmy." And then it just reminded me of how young that child actually is.
Mm-hmm. He's little.
He's a baby. He's what, 18 or 17? 18.
18. Just turned 18.
But like he just walks around the paddock smiling, just happy to be there. I said, "Oh, you're adorable." But yeah, he took his whole class on a field trip but also think about it. You're just kicking it in your high school class, getting ready to graduate, right? And the tiny little kid who drives cars on the weekend is like, "Hey, want to come to my Grand Prix?" And you're like, "Huh?" Then you wind up at an F1 race. I mean, unless of course you follow it, but still, it's kind of cool.
I mean, they're European and they're Italian, so like, these children probably follow Formula One.
Valid. And they go to school with an F1 driver, true.
Yes. I assure you they follow Formula One. They were probably rooting for Kimi and Ferrari, which made Quali extra tragic for them, I'm sure.
Oh.
We'll get into that when we get to Quali, but...
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, what else y'all got?
I've got one. So, Jack Doohan of Alpine fame.
Mm-hmm.
Lots has been going on with our boy Jack. I wrote this news like a couple days ago about him getting like death threats and hate and like all this stuff.
Wait, what?
Yes. So Jack Doohan has been receiving death threats, I guess, from Colapinto fans.
He lost his seat to Colapinto?
Yes, we're all very confused by this. But apparently he's been getting death threats. And there's this Twitter account called Formula Fakers.
Uh-huh.
They're a parody account of the actual F1 News account, Formula Racers. But their like logo and stuff is like the exact same. Like they just took the logo.
Uh-huh.
And so like if you're not paying attention, it is quite easy to think that it's the thing, right? And so they posted a spoof of Jack's father when Colapinto crashed, posting Colapinto's crash, saying very impressive. And apparently a bunch of Colapinto fans and actual F1 news sources, used that tweet as the evidence that he posted that story. And so the Doohans were receiving mad hate, and Jack actually had to talk about it because him and his dad were getting absolutely destroyed on socials. But all this to say that Jack Doohan has been #suffering. Apparently, he had to hire security.
A couple of them had security this race, because Kimmy had 2 security guards on him as well.
But yeah, Jack Doohan's
but Jack's reasoning for having one is like wild.
Yeah, Jack Doohan's not having a good time. He's #suffering. #free my boy.
I feel like people forget how young most of these men are. Like Jack Doohan is what, 20? What? I don't know.
Maybe my age, maybe
don't
younger.
think they forget.
Hold on.
I just like.
Hey Siri, how old is Jack Doohan?
Girl,
what's wrong with her?
No, that's not what I mean.
Girl,
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm typing it in. Continue.
Anyway, Jack Doohan's getting absolutely put through the ringer right now, which is very unfortunate because obviously he doesn't deserve to be put through the ringer.
He's 22. He's a baby.
He's a baby.
And people are saying, "I'm just a baby." And he's getting death threats. That's insane.
Yeah. So quite crazy. Hope the Doohans are doing okay because they've been in the trenches these past couple days.
Some people just need to chill out. It's actually not that serious, bro.
Yeah.
It's actually not. Like, you're not getting paid, my guy.
Exactly.
Chill.
But that was Kimmy and Jack. Next up, very light news is that currently the supposed frontrunners for Cadillac are Checo, Bottas, and Zhou. I actually think that might have changed since I last wrote that piece of news, but honestly, I don't care who the frontrunners for Cadillac are. I just want them to tell me who their drivers are. So,
exactly.
So, how do we feel about this being their lineup?
Honestly,
the only one that surprises me right now is Zhou.
A little bit, yeah, okay.
But other than that, those other two, I guess.
Oh, damn.
But no,
I'm happy about it.
I would like to see Bottas back. I think
Checo, Bottas, and Zhou.
Okay. And Zhou. I'd be happy to see both back. I low-key want both back.
I'm happy to see all
both
of them.
Checo and Bottas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Checo.
I mean, just add a little more fun to the grid, you know?
Yeah.
We just gonna have
also imagine the Cadillac videos of Bottas trying Mexican food.
Oh my god. Lord help us all.
It's a wrap. It's already gone viral. Yes, it's already at Mexico City, girl.
Oh yeah.
It's already
he has to do the legit
girl,
Mexican food in Mexico City and then come do Tex-Mex in Austin.
That's actually, I was just to say, it's actually a problem that when you said Mexican food, I automatically thought about Texas.
No, man.
Instead of actual Mexico.
Actual Mexican
the entire country.
Listeners, I want you to know that we do not endorse Bex's initial thoughts. When we said Mexican food, thought of Mexican
We know.
food.
Af and Felicia know what Mexican food is. It is Bex who is confused.
Is Bex who is a true blue Texan.
Okay.
And she ain't got nothing to say to that.
That Texas through and through.
She ain't got
Anyway, moving on.
She doesn't want to get canceled.
I would never.
All right. Next piece of news um, is that apparently, last week we talked about Carlos Sainz Sr. potentially joining the FIA.
Which, crazy, but go ahead.
Crazy. This week, we're not talking about Anthony Hamilton, father of Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Potentially joining the FIA.
The paddock papa.
Yes. A lot of people have critiqued this in a similar way that they critiqued Carlos Sainz Sr. running for president. Bex, are you aware of which division Lewis's dad is trying to take over?
So he would be part of the FIA's Young Driver Development Pathway.
Oh.
So, and would you call Lewis a young driver who needs to be developed?
No.
I would.
I think 7 championships has moved him out of the young.
I mean, it's a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with no.
Exactly. So, I don't know what kind of crack the haters are on, but girl,
I know.
Y'all get up out of here.
Everyone was like, when I saw this everyone in the comments was like, "How is this fair? Oh, if Anthony Hamilton can do this, then of course Carlos Sainz Sr. he can be president. No one should have any complaints." And everyone was like, and then the people who I saw actually making sense were like, first of all, Anthony Hamilton, more so than anyone, has the best experience with raising up a driver, and also really raising up a young driver with limited means. So using all the resources that they had available to them, but raising up he had that story. He raised a young driver to become a 7-time world champion. He would have nothing to do with Lewis Hamilton or Ferrari specifically in right now. Like he wouldn't have anything to do with it. He would have to do with young drivers and helping them rise up in the ranks.
So basically,
F3,
he'd
F2.
probably be I was about to say he'd be working with F3 and F2 drivers to get them.
Yeah, I don't think solely,
Not even, though.
I don't.
I think he'd be doing even younger.
Yeah, I think he might be doing younger, and maybe maybe if at most you might see him just being like, you saw how he was with Isaac Hadjar.
Yep,
at that.
That's
first
why
race.
I called him the paddock papa.
That's kind of I don't even think it's I could see it just being a support role. Hey, it's hard out here. Doing these races is tough. Do you need help? Hey, this is what it's I don't really even see him building up drivers like he did with Lewis.
You also have to remember the fact this man is a very well-rounded expert in building up a driver. He was out there building Lewis's cars himself. He knows what he is talking about. He knows what he is doing. His child has how many? 7 world championships. If you honestly think that's detrimental to the sport, you're stupid.
But I don't think people were arguing it's detrimental. I think people are arguing that it's a conflict. It's unfair.
Yeah, conflict of interest.
But I actually think
we don't care about conflict of interest in Formula 1.
But also,
as long as let me say something. Wait, hold on.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
As long as Flavio Briatore is in somebody's paddock, I don't want to hear a thing.
Y'all made me
that poor
look
man
up.
is out there still trying to sue to get his rightful championship back. I don't know if rightful is a word, but he's still trying to fight. He's still fighting for that championship. And Flavio Briatore is still in the paddock with his Dr. Evil,
Dr. Evil.
He does.
His glasses actually fascinate me. How it's blue tinted, but at the top.
It's yellowish.
I don't know. It's like a white.
It goes
tint, at the bottom.
blue to yellow. It's yellowish. Anyway,
I don't know, but I just think and the funny thing is comparing Anthony Hamilton to Carlos Sainz Sr. to Susie Wolff even. I actually think Anthony Hamilton is A, the most qualified for that position, and B, would have the least conflict of interest out of the 3.
Yep.
So
I agree with you on that.
I just think everyone needs to let it go.
Let's all take a chill pill.
You know?
Yes. All right. My next piece of news is actually a question.
Oh, God.
Guys, how long is Franco Colapinto's race stint at Alpine?
5 races.
Not according to Dr.
Flavio,
Evil.
Not according to Flavio Briatore.
What
Because
does
Flavio
he have to say?
has gone against the words of Alpine.
What the fuck?
And in like a clip / interview this weekend, he was out here saying, oh, while he's doing good, who knows, could be the whole season, could be this, could be that. And when Karoon, what's his face, whose name I never remember, verified with Dr. Evil and went, but doesn't he have a 5-race contract? Flavio said no such thing.
Sorry.
That's why you gotta tune in for the pre-race, girl. Flavio's out here chatting mad shit. So basically, we don't know how long Colapinto's there. He could be there until they don't like him anymore. He could be there for the rest of the season. He could be there for 5 races.
He could be there just until Flavio decides he doesn't want to see his face anymore.
I was about to say something. Could it be that Flavio likes him because he's like a very charismatic driver, and the second he's no longer on board with that, he's going to get rid of him?
Maybe.
Or do we genuinely feel like he's better than Doohan? I think he's better than Doohan, but I'm just saying.
We didn't see enough Doohan.
I'm about to say, I think he's better.
Points.
I think for what I've seen of them, I think he is better than Doohan, but he also was racing at the end of last year. So he has more
He should
experience.
Be better.
Yeah, he has more experience.
True.
He has a slight leg up over Jack. I don't think Jack was given enough time to get
he definitely wasn't.
And B, just get out there and race enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
right, you literally gave a rookie 5 races. That's crazy.
So yeah, there's something going on in the house of
Alpine. Wait, was Alpine Renault or was that Aston Martin?
Alpine was Renault, Aston Martin was Force India.
Got you. Cool.
Got you, queen. All right. My next piece of news is, and I'm gonna go through some technical car news, and then I'm gonna get into my discourse news for us to talk about.
Heard.
First is the introduction of the C6 Pirelli tires, which are now the softest tires in the range, as I'm sure you noticed this weekend.
Isn't that kind of what you saying you were? No, what is this? Did you want harder tires?
I said I wanted the entire tire spectrum shifted softer. First thing is I wanted the entire spectrum shifted softer. And doubly to me wanting the entire spectrum shifted softer, I wanted it shifted so that if you tried to do too many laps or you pushed your tires too hard, they just gave out on you. And what was it that you guys said about this race weekend where we had the softest tires to ever cross an F1 track since they got rid of the more complicated system? Best race weekend?
I did say that. And I do think the tires definitely played an aspect of it because it was interesting. Well, we'll kind of go into the technical part later on, but
we'll go to
all I will say is I learned a lot about tires in this race. I learned a lot.
But I was actually kind of glad that Pirelli's making their own moves,
spicing things up a little bit,
a little sazon.
A little
so
adobo.
I enjoyed this soft tire. We'll talk more about us enjoying the soft tire. But yeah, new tire. I believe that this is supposed to be they said there was a specific type of track that they had built a softer tire with in mind.
Didn't they say street races, street tracks?
Yeah, and that they were more so testing it here.
Yeah.
Just to see how it would do. I thought it did great. So yeah, we're gonna see more of it later. I can't remember which tracks, but we're gonna see. I
kind of like it. I actually kind of liked it. I'm not gonna lie.
I loved it a lot.
I enjoyed it. I never knew tires would excite me.
Yes. And then my next piece of techie news, and this honestly might not be fully comprehensive, so I'm actually going to go check while I talk. But this weekend we had upgrades, people upgrades, and we had
upgrades. Talk to me.
So I'm probably not going to be able to talk you through the technicals of each upgrade because I am simply just myself. While I do have an engineering degree, it is
I was about to say
engineering. not mechanical engineering, and so I probably can't give you a ton of the specific deets.
Out of
However,
the three of us, you have the most comprehension.
Okay, yes. However, what I can give you is I can give you small amounts of info about who brought the upgrades. So first we have Red Bull. They brought upgrades to their floor. We've heard about these floor upgrades for a while. I believe they just changed the makeup of their floors. Like everybody's floor has different like contours and grooves and shit to like help with their downforce and stuff.
Okay.
So I think that they brought upgrades to that.
I know Aston Martin brought a new floor and a new body, I believe. Or part, like, I think the top part or something like that.
Yes. Okay, wait. So the Red Bull brought a revised side pod situation.
Okay.
Oh, to this one. Okay, so what they did, they brought floor changes in Miami. And then in this one, they brought new side pods. And they did like a mid-wing arrangement that looks similar to McLaren's. So it looks like they're trying to get the tire saving stuff that McLaren has to work on their car. So that's good for them. And as we saw this weekend, seems like it worked.
Well,
unfortunately.
Okay.
Seems like it worked.
Sometimes you just got to take a peek next door and see what's going on.
Yes. And Aston Martin brought their first major upgrade package, which appears to be, yes, new floor and new top body work for more downforce.
Heard.
Which worked for them up until a point.
Yeah.
I think one thing that made this race also quite interesting, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but I think luck played a part in it, whether you were on the receiving end of bad luck or good luck. And I think Aston Martin, even though they had a really nice upgrade, just got some unlucky situations.
They got.
They got.
They were doing their best, though.
They are. And my last piece of news that is honestly not really news. It's more so me with a commentary to the media.
Oh, heard.
I think they need to stop pushing this fake Lando-Oscar rivalry.
Yo.
Because the amount of times, and not just them, it is also social media that's pushing this. The amount of times I would see articles about how Oscar ignored Lando, or he said this about how Lando sucks, or this or that. And I go to watch the clip and it's just him being like, me and Lando are different.
Yeah.
We're different people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, are you not embarrassed?
No, they're not. They have no shame. They have no shame.
They have no shame. And I'm like,
when you're shameless, you'll say anything.
You will. And I'm like, guys, we don't need to be doing this. Honestly, there is enough tomfoolery from these people.
Hey.
It's actually happening.
Just look inside of Alpine's garage.
For real. We could just do segment on segment after.
Simply.
We still ain't figured out exactly what happened to Oliver Oaks.
Okay.
Still hiding in Dubai.
I was about to say he's still on the run.
He's still on the run. So
wait, what is he supposedly running from again?
The police.
Some sort of monetary fraud thing, Russian sanction dealings.
Right, with the Mazepins and whatnot. Yep.
Exactly.
I remember now.
So I'm like, let's focus on that guy. That guy needs some news articles.
Has anybody heard from him? No.
His younger brother's team showed up with all of their branding removed from their trucks.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who is his younger brother?
William Oaks. Nobody we know.
Okay. I'm like, and
yeah, no, nobody we know.
Okay.
But yeah. And then that was my last piece of news, was just a commentary to the media that we can pack it up quick. But I forgot who my actual project runway was, because I was sitting there, I was like, I wrote down something as my project runway and completely forgot it, hence why I picked Liam Lawson. And my project runway was the little Tifosi in the stands who had a hat with knit dolls of Lewis and Charles on his hat.
That's so cute.
He's my actual project runway.
So cute. It was precious. It was really cute.
It was so cute. But all right, we can move into qualifying, and dare I say, really good qualifying.
It was a really good quali.
I enjoyed myself.
Let me pull up my notes.
I
Kept me on my toes. Kept me engaged.
Kept me very engaged. And the reason why it kept me engaged was because I was watching the pre-show. I hadn't watched any of the practices.
Mm-hmm.
But they were mentioning how the soft tire was just like new and everything. I was like, okay, I'm getting caught up on the soft tire.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them play these side by sides of Max doing a quali lap on the soft and a quali lap on the medium because he went faster on the medium, which is just not how things work.
Yeah. I was very
And
confused by that this whole race.
Yes, the way that soft tire gave up mid-lap
That thing said,
it was like
no.
was insane. Because I was watching, I was like, oh, he's sliding on this tire like the track is wet. Like, I've seen him have more car control on a wet track before.
Well,
what's going on? And so the soft tire was really kicking the girls' asses.
them damn tires you wanted. That's what happened.
I love
You got your own man messed up, okay?
He figured it out in the end. He got it together.
He did.
But
that's your man.
These soft tires had them on their asses. First, we have Lewis qualifying behind an Aston Martin in Q1 for his first run.
Crazy.
So just regular ass run. Absolute dog shit behind an Aston Martin. So we hate that for us. And then immediately, as soon as I start to lament in the notes and complain about Lewis stressing me the fuck out and calling back an Aston, and Max is setting a beautiful, beautiful lap.
A banger lap.
A banger lap. What has to happen? My boy Yuki.
Oh, that poor baby.
He crashed so bad.
The lights came on and everything.
When it first happened, I think we're on board with Max.
Yes, we're on board because Max was setting a really good lap.
He was.
And then all of a sudden they just cut to Yuki and he crashed. And I was like, oh, that sucks. What happened?
Yeah, maybe his rear spun out or something.
Yeah. And then they showed the freaking replay.
Yuki Tsunoda.
And you're like, Lord, thank you for the halo. Anyone who complained about the halo,
Total Wolf get fucked.
Listen,
Lewis get fucked.
Lewis also get fucked.
And Lewis was saved several
Lewis's
times.
life was saved by it.
Stew. Yeah, Lewis was up in the stew complaining about that halo.
And
probably up until Max put that tire on his head.
Neck.
Yeah, and now it's just like the way he flipped.
That was scary.
So many times.
Yeah, what happened to the roll hoop? Where's the roll hoop?
What's that?
I don't know.
The roll hoop is like a thing in their cars that's supposed to stop them from twisting and turning over like that.
Really?
It's supposed to make it so that it's way harder for your car to just straight up flip.
Really?
But I think he caught enough air that it ended up not, like he caught enough force off the curb that it ended up not mattering.
And I actually was reading somewhere, I may have been at Formula One Reddit, how I saw myself over there, I don't know.
I know, I don't even go in there, and I'm on Reddit for a good few hours a day.
Oh, I know, so am I. You can find anything and everything on Reddit. But someone actually they were actually like being like, oh no, Yuki. And they were like saying it actually may sometimes be better to have a crash that rolls and things like that because
it distributes the force.
Yeah, and so it's not as
it's not as impactful.
You're not taking all the energy of your speed.
There you go, and it's not as potentially life threatening if you have one where you don't get that sort of
because you're actively turning some of that speed into like rotation.
There you go. Y'all said it best, and y'all didn't know what I was talking about.
Absorbed and whatnot by other aspects of the vehicle rather than just the person.
Exactly. And so I was just like, ooh.
It's like, okay, so for example, y'all remember Max's big crash?
Yes.
So his body absorbed most of that impact.
Yeah, that's
which is why he was so like afterward. Yeah. But you see, his car just got hit and slammed into the wall.
But I was just kind of happy to see that he was doing okay. It sucked that he was out of qualifying so early. But it was like 12 minutes left and
something like
it was
that.
crazy also too because they brought the red flag out And like half of the grades still hadn't even set a time yet.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, there's enough time. Then I looked up, it was 12 minutes. And I was like, oh, that's it's still a good amount of time.
Yeah. But Yuki did a bad roll, but he's okay, which is always good. Yeah, you asked your question. Go.
Did anyone figure out what Lewis was doing when he just kind of like sat in the fast lane before qualifying start?
I think he just wanted to get out first.
But it's not even like he got into it and he went to the end of it. He literally pulled out of the garage and just sat there.
Oh, no. I didn't
figure out what that was. I don't know. I just thought it was.
I don't remember seeing it.
I just remember I saw it and then I like took note of it because I'm like, is this like a move or something? I don't know. But okay, never mind.
Who knows with them, honestly.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
But yeah, Yuki was fine. Red flag ends the session. Well, stops the session, I should say. After Yuki's crash, they get him cleared. Everything's good. We do have a little thing where Franco's engineers tell him to creep towards the fast lane.
Oh.
He just straight up goes into the fast lane.
Yep.
Which resulted in a grid penalty for him. Hate that for him.
Poor baby.
And yeah, my main takeaway from Q1. One, Lewis was pissing me the fuck off.
Well.
That he was just not doing what I needed him to do. And that will continue to be a trend for the rest of qualified.
I was about to say that seems to be his way right now.
Yep. Thing number 2 was I don't get McLaren, and I don't get the situation of McLaren. I don't get anything about how McLaren's operating right now.
What do you mean?
I don't get anything about how that team is operating right now.
What do you mean?
Because to me, it seems, and this was evident to me from Q1, Oscar has Lando's number.
Oh,
I'm not saying necessarily, because, the haters love to come at me.
Oh.
I'm not saying necessarily that Oscar is empirically better than Lando.
Shouldn't you be?
I am saying that you have to throw a lot at Oscar to give room for Lando to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to wonder, I was watching Q1, and I was like, I'm not even being a hater. How the fuck is Lando so far off Oscar?
Well.
How are you... in my mind, Lando and Oscar should basically be setting identical times, because we're at the point where maybe if Oscar is more naturally talented, Lando's experience plus Oscar's natural talent should pretty much even them up. All throughout qualifying, he had his ass, and I was just like, bro, you ain't pissed off in there?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna start getting angry? Because I'd start getting pissed.
Yeah.
And I'd start setting some good laps. It feels... I don't know, man. I'm not one to feel sorry for F1 drivers, personally. It's not in my ministry normally, unless something quite bad happens. But, I almost feel bad for Lando.
Why?
Because I'm just like, what has to be going on up there? That you see this man constantly making a fool out of you, and you don't buck up a little bit. You don't do anything. I don't know. I'm obviously not upset by it. It feeds into my correct narrative, so I'm not mad at it, but I'm just perplexed. I feel like every week he does nothing about it.
Well, at least he's consistent. What?
that was just funny.
Consistency is key.
Bex, do you have feelings about this plight?
I have feelings, but I also feel as though the other part that's actually frustrating me has nothing to do with I wish this wasn't happening to Oscar, if that makes I wish it was someone who had a little bit more get back in them. Because I think Oscar is going to sit back and take a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then just sort of peace out when he's ready.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think he's the type to just leave McLaren.
Yeah.
Yeah, versus if you put a lot, if you put a Max in that situation, if you put a Lewis in that situation, hell, I think if you put even a George in that situation,
they're bucking
there's
out.
a lot of drivers actually, I think, in a grid, but they would handle it a lot differently. And you would see it become more of like
An issue.
an actual fight. I don't even know if you would just see it be more like a fight. I think Oscar just takes a lot because he feels like obviously Lando is more senior. Lando technically was the number one driver when he got there, and no one had sort of
challenged it
or even said like, I don't think there's been any like serious discussion like y'all are allowed to fight.
Yeah.
Like both of y'all are allowed to fight for this. You know, we're not going to say one is over. And so I feel like he's still sort of playing in that little brother role. And I just need him to kick the door down and be like, yo, little bro is here and you're not gonna do that. Like I actually am bigger, better, stronger, smarter, more skillful, faster. So like, anyway, that's just my sort of takeaway in that situation. I have frustrations also with this race when it comes to those two.
Why?
Well, we're gonna get into this.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
tomfoolery.
But I think it is getting to a point where it is seeming like it's getting more and more obvious as each race continues that Oscar actually is the better driver, as like a better complete driver, I would say, than Lando.
So,
and the thing is, like, I don't even think we need Oscar to be a better complete driver, right? Oscar is the one who comes to a race weekend, and you leave the race weekend having scored, on average, more points from Oscar.
yes.
Right? Like, in the long game, that's what matters. I feel like a lot of people are, like, seeing them both win, and they're just like, look, it's two number one drivers, it's this, it's that. And I'm like,
It's not
it's
comparable.
really not.
It's not comparable.
But
I have a question for y'all. So you know how the commentators always talk about how calm Oscar is, like, after he wins or after he gets pole, yada, yada, yada. Do you think that Oscar is toning down his celebrations because of Lando?
No, I think Oscar is just who Oscar is. Because I think Oscar has been on the podium without Lando. And
yeah, of course, yeah.
Oscar's not toning down his celebrations, IMO. I think what's actually happening is that, like, one, Oscar is relatively reserved, and two, like, I just think Oscar reserves being, like, emotional or, like, whatever about something for stuff that he thinks, like, is actually worth it. And, like, his first race win, if they hadn't fucked it up for him, probably would have been one of those things that was, like, worth it. You know? But, like, winning a race in a dominant car, it's the same thing that happened to Max, where people would be mad that Max wasn't celebrating, and it's like...
He's like, I knew I was going to win.
What? No, it's like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
I'm doing my job.
I'm doing my job. Like, I should be winning every single race. One of us should win every single race. So, like, I mean, I'm gonna celebrate because I like winning, but, like, there's not much to, like, write home about, or I need to be hooting and hollering and whatever. Like, I think just enjoy myself.
I think, like, especially in comparison to, like, Lando, who celebrates a lot, or George, who, like, does the absolute most, you know, the absolute most. It's like, I think the comparison between him and some of the other drivers, but then again, you can't really compare Oscar to the other drivers because
the lion doesn't compare itself to the sheep.
Okay, all right, sure. Clock it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just think they are. I don't know. To be honest, I think the more and more that McLaren continue to not sort of, I don't know how to say preference, but like
favor.
As long as McLaren continues to not give Oscar the respect that he's owed, I think it's going to continue to be a problem that is going to balloon up. And I think last season we kind of got a taste of it towards the end.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's going to become a bigger, worse situation.
Yeah,
of course.
This year, and also too, they're going to need to like walk a very thin line because there are some people who could look at this race and they could say that McLaren screwed Oscar out of a win,
and they'd say that because that's true.
Did.
So I'm also saying, like, you don't, like, you want to get that type of reputation behind Lando Norris?
Zach Brown does.
I'm just saying, there's a potential that you could go 1-2 and win the constructors champion. Well, you probably will win the constructors championship.
I mean,
and you could go 1-2, but you have to do it smartly, and if not, you could end up screwing yourself out of that 1-2. Maybe even screwing yourself out of that one.
Tires are not the only strategy you need to have.
Well, because also, let's be real. And this is skipping ahead to the race a little bit. They suffered because they had a situation with Lando and Oscar where it was too blatant of a gap. So their normal strategy that they loved to use last year too, of let's give Oscar a bad strategy and then give Lando the better strategy, and that will just solve any problems. And that works when they're running really close to each other.
Yep.
So it's maybe he would have. It doesn't work when Oscar is killing him in a race.
Yep.
And then somehow, via fucking Oscar with an extra stop, all of a sudden things work out. And it's that looks sketch as fuck.
It doesn't look sketch, it is.
Because like I said earlier, I think something benefited from bad luck and good luck. Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of the commentators were saying a little bit oh, Oscar's a little bit unlucky or something like that.
He's not
Oscar.
Unlucky.
I don't think Oscar was unlucky. I think Oscar was screwed.
I think Oscar was sabotaged.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that they just need to be mindful before they mess up their reputation and they mess up what they could potentially win at the end of the season.
McLaren
it was ridiculous.
Keep it demure and mindful.
Yeah, it was a bit ridiculous though. I remember watching, and my roommate was not my roommate. My friend was literally like, "What the There is no explanation for what strategy they ended up coming up with, except we wanted Lando to win."
Yeah,
and we had this conversation about a race last year. There was a race that was very similar, where it's this strategy makes no sense unless your main primary goal was to decide which of your cars was in front. Yep. Which, if that's the case, stop this "we have two number one drivers" bullshit now.
Yep. And
keep it pushing.
Listen, look at what Mercedes did for years. They made it very obvious who their number one and who their number two was. They didn't give a fuck. Toto didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't even know much about old school F1, and I know that.
I think that was a little bit different because they'd had to go through the valley.
Peaks and valleys. But I'm just saying, they don't have to be as intense about it as Mercedes very clearly was. But you can say, "Hey, guess what? We favor Lando," which is a dumb decision, but whatever.
Yeah, and the problem is that they want a future guarantee, right? They want to take all of Oscar's good years, hone him into a McLaren boy, TM, and then keep him there for when Lando fumbles and fails, so that they still have a guy who can win the championship. And I'm that doesn't work if the guy knows he can win the championship. Oscar knows he can win the championship without Lando fucking up and fumbling.
Okay.
He knows that. So every time that you sit here and be no, but Lando, you're eroding any chance of Oscar becoming a McLaren champion instead of just a dude who won his championship at McLaren.
But also, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Shoot.
Well,
go ahead.
Maybe you'll think about it later, but I think we got a lot more race.
We got a lot more race. We're only in Q1. We're only in Q1.
Damn. Okay, you know what? Good thing.
Because we jumped ahead a little bit to the race because we got so upset. But NT ways, the last thing about Q1 is that we have Colapinto also crashing and bringing out a red flag. And this has the knock-on effect of fucking up a couple laps. Because obviously a red flag stops the session. And we have Ollie Bierman, who I want to state for the record, completed his Q1 lap before the red flag was shown.
Yes.
Then the FIA deleted his lap.
Sure did.
When everybody pulled up the footage and went, "Hey, he finished his lap," they put it under review and they never came to a conclusion. I've been trolling the FIA documents.
They never actually had an answer.
I've yet to see a document come out for it.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Wait, are we? I thought it was clear that Ollie was out.
No. If you go look at... No, girl. Were you watching the same coverage we were? If you
I was watching it live.
I watched it live too.
Did you see the commentators slow it down and actually
the commentators
point it
slowed
out?
it down? Because what happened was Alex Brundle did an initial review.
Yep.
Where he was like, yeah, looks like he didn't make it. And then Alex Brundle came back and was like, hey guys, I'm wrong.
Yep.
Those are the lights that just indicate that somebody's coming.
The session's over or something like that.
Yeah. Those are just like the session's over lights. That's not a red flag light. That's just because the timer went down to 0. This is the red flag light. And you watch Ollie cross the line, and you watch like 2 seconds later. Like a long time later, the red flag come out.
But also, that red flag light also flashes. It doesn't just come on. It flashes. So I'm like, how is that how does that work? If you have this red light flashing, all it takes is half a second and they miss it.
Yep. Anyway. It's ridiculous, IMO. But yeah, Ollie set his lap. And like, it is well agreed by Haas, by the commentators, by everybody, by fans at the thing that were like, we have footage of Ollie crossing the line before the red flag light came on. Everybody agrees. We never got an FAA document on it because I guess they couldn't decide before Q2 and Bortoleto was already out. So they went like, well, he's in now. And I'm like,
that's another thing. Because Sauber just sending him out.
And Sauber did the smart and correct thing that they should have done.
I mean, yes.
That's exactly what Sauber should have done.
I was like, damn, Sauber. Sauber was like, nah, bruh.
Because I genuinely do think that if Sauber had waited for an FIA decision,
it would have been Ollie.
I think they might have decided on Ollie.
It would have been Ollie.
I think it's because there was already a dude out there that they were like, well, we're not gonna, like, there's nothing to, like, now we would have an unclassified driver out on the track.
Yeah.
And we'd probably have to penalize him for trying to participate in the session. Why don't we
either
just
that
not
or they let him do the lap, come back into the pit and sit there.
Yeah, I think they'd have to penalize him for going out
going
when he
on
wasn't
the track.
Qualifying. Yeah.
Jesus.
And so,
if they have sensors for things like the start and stuff like that, why wouldn't they have a sensor for something like this?
I mean, I think they technically do. I think they just did a bad job of like the data and where everything was going.
Okay. I'm just saying. I was like, y'all don't have. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yes, but all right, that was Q1.
Oh wait,
out in Q.
Can we talk about the fact that Stroll was a sneaky little motherfucker with his medium tires?
Oh yes, so this will become a theme of qualifying that we'll talk about more in Q2. But the Astons came alive on those medium tires.
Go ahead.
Came so alive that they killed the hopes of the Italian crowd in Q2
completely.
But Bex, who do we have out in Q1?
We have out in Q1 Yuki Tsunoda. Poor guy. Ocon standard, Hulkenberg standard, Lawson standard, and poor rookie Bortoleto out in 16.
No, Ollie.
Oh,
okay.
My bad. I wrote it down.
As somebody who
it was Ollie
finished his lap.
Oh, Ollie Bierman. Sorry, y'all.
Poor baby.
And that's who's out.
Isn't this the first time Bortoleto makes it into Q2?
No, I thought he made it a couple weekends ago.
Oh, did he?
Sauber had like one good weekend. I also do want to call out a name that we didn't hear get knocked down in Q1, and that is Colapinto. Because before crashing out, Colapinto set a lap good enough for 15th, so he made it into Q2 but couldn't participate.
I love that.
He made it to Q2, couldn't actually.
Yes,
right
which is
Q2.
Doubly sad for Ollie.
Oh, poor baby.
So tragic.
But it actually, you would think that with two people crashing out, it would make things a lot easier for the other guys to qualify.
One would think.
But no, not Ferrari.
Nope.
Ferrari wants to play silly games.
Let's get into Q2. Off the rip, we're getting embarrassed by the Ferraris. Like, Lewis sets that first lap, and I'm like,
what is that?
What is this, honey? We need to get you a home. It was bad.
It was the
Charles
white
also
refrigerator.
disappointing me. And I'm sitting there going, it's okay. They'll get the second. They'll get the second lap.
Yeah, second lap will be the one. That'll be the one.
They get the second lap. They get the second lap, and I'm like, okay, not great, but that's okay because it's an improvement. And guess what? The only people we have behind us that could, in theory, out
I
qualify
mean, who would think?
are the Aston Martins. And the Aston Martins aren't going to qualify.
There's no way.
And the Williams.
And the Williams. The Williams out qualifies. I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. Because we still have the Astons, and they're not going to out qualify us. And then I watch with my own two eyes as Lance Stroll knocks Lewis Hamilton out of qualifying at the Italian GP.
Lance, when I say Lance is a sneaky motherfucker, this is what I mean.
He wasn't sneaky.
They have that Adrian Newey black magic up in that car.
Oh, I forgot they have Adrian.
I was literally writing, like, what kind of sorcery did Aston Martin do to their car? And Aston goes, upgrade to Adrian Newey. That's the black magic.
Car Jesus strikes again.
What? You are so right. It is the black magic. He is some type of sorcerer over there, tinkering and tankering.
He turned that Aston Martin water into wine.
The man who Q1 and Stroll, they go together bad.
Okay.
And somehow he made it out.
He literally has the record for most Q1 exits and then came back and knocked Lewis Hamilton out of Q2.
And then
he got mad. He got even.
Alonso coming out of nowhere.
And knocking out Charles.
I mean, at least, Fernando, experienced driver, like actual good driver, and then fucking
Sometimes I do wonder
what
how Alonso won those 2 championships when I see him race.
I mean, clearly by plotting and scheming.
Plotting, scheming, and who knows? Although I guess, to my understanding, he started most of his plotting and scheming once Lewis was a teammate.
This is true.
That was when he was really on his
I think he seemed like he was likable before Lewis got there.
Yeah. Really?
Lewis ruined him. I think Lewis fucked him up.
I think it was like he was on a high from winning 2 championships.
And then this rookie came in.
Who thought he was
the shit.
That guy. And then all of a sudden everything turned up. But yeah, sometimes when I watch Alonso race, I'm like,
how did we get here?
How did we get here with 2 championships?
Yeah.
But,
but as we discussed, knocked out of Q2, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Antonelli, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Bad day for the Italians.
I love Charles getting out of the car. My God. My God. My God. My God.
I texted my friend who is both Italian and a Ferrari fan and a Lance Stroll hater. He hates Lance Stroll more than anything. And I texted him, are you prepared?
Nightmare.
I said, are you prepared for information that's going to hurt you? And he was like, what happened? Because he was at rugby practice. And I was like, Lance Stroll just knocked out a Ferrari.
And then the other one comes and knocks out the other Ferrari.
And Antonelli out. Bad day to be Italian, bro.
Yo, the Italians took hit after hit after hit during Quali.
But all right, now we're into Q3. And Q3 was a little bit more typical. Q3, we got back to business. We got back to life, back to reality. And the main thing that I took away from Q3, besides Oscar being on pole, yay, love that for you, Oscar King.
Oski.
Lando Norris. Are you not embarrassed?
He
out-qualified by Gregory Russell? Greg?
Mind you, you're in a McLaren that has literally been described as a rocket ship on wheels.
That has been created by Satan himself.
Jesus himself.
I don't think Jesus has any hand in what goes on.
Oh, not McLaren. My bad.
But you're telling me that you got out-qualified by George Russell? Getting out-qualified by Max happens to everybody. You could be the greatest in the world. You'll get out-qualified by Max at some point.
Mm-hmm.
George Russell in a Mercedes.
George, let's be real. George has been
George's a
kind of
consistent
doing
man.
his thing on the low.
He does his thing. But he should not be out qualifying a single McLaren.
I don't actually
I'm
think
surprised,
George is a better
but
driver than Lando.
no,
To me, they're the same. They're functionally the same.
I
think Lando. Honestly, no. I actually view them completely the same. I think George would do just as well if you put him in the McLaren.
If you put him in a McLaren, okay,
He's just as fine.
Same mistakes.
Max.
I'm not. I think they would make some of the same mistakes. I don't think George does not have that natural raw skill and talent that I think someone like a Max has.
Yeah,
and I think that Oscar has some of that natural raw
Oscar
talent.
does definitely.
I think he has to I think he's someone who you need to stay with the team, be consistent. Mm-hmm. You've seen him consistently get better every year with
he's
Mercedes.
a build up.
Well, the past 2 years, and so I think it's the same thing for Lando.
He's very much an example of practice makes perfect. He ain't perfect yet, but practice.
He's working.
I think he's just he's just going. I could see one day George sneaking in and winning a championship.
Yeah,
just because he's consistent.
We see how he's been sneaking onto podiums.
But I just think he's one of those people who could technically sneak in one of those weird seasons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I could see that for George.
And then all of a sudden it's winning. He's 8 points ahead.
Man,
for real. He gets to the last one, he needs to get first, and then a fluke happens and he wins.
There you go.
Something like that.
That's so George Russell coded.
Oh my gosh. Well, you want to talk about it?
I was gonna say, Isaac Hodger.
I'm so proud.
When did he get into Q3? I looked up. I just said Hodger 5th, and I was like, ooh, when did he get here?
Where did he
go? More embarrassing for the Ferraris.
Hello?
They let a rookie in a V car beat you.
A rookie in a V car, bro.
But I was very excited. I think Hajar had the best weekend for the rookies this week.
He is.
I think he did really well, even in the race. I think he did really, really well. He continues to outperform his teammate,
and the other rookies,
who also is technically a rookie, but also has more experience.
Yep, clock it.
All of them. So
I just want to point out. Oh, go ahead.
I know. I'm just really happy for Hajar. I would like to, and I just want to make sure that he continues to get opportunity, get a chance, and I hope to see him make it through the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. And they better not put him in a Red Bull. Don't put him in a Red Bull yet.
I've seen some a little creepy crawly man over at Red Bull opened his mouth.
Helmet?
Helmet head.
Was it helmet? Ooh, maybe it wasn't helmet. I think it was helmet.
It's probably helmet.
That Yuki may need to be scared of Isaac because Isaac is getting results. And something along those lines, and I was just
y'all need to leave him to continue to get his results. And then
I was let Yuki have his year. Mm-hmm. It's a very difficult car to drive. Mm-hmm. He's been doing. I think this weekend was just. This weekend he started in the pit lane. He ended up in the points.
Yep.
It was a point, but he still got it.
Better than some people would have done.
Okay.
And have done. And so. I just think that some people just need to pull their mouth from that situation, as we would say.
I just think one thing that really pointed out to me the difference between F2 and F1 as someone who's never watched an F2 race is the fact that Bortoleto won the F2 championship and he and Hodger were neck and neck apparently for the entire season. Now look where they are. Hodger is 11th overall, and I don't know where Bortoleto is. I can't even lie.
I would say I don't necessarily think they're comparable right now because they're in two different cars.
Valid. Valid.
Bortoleto is
in a sour.
Just bringing that thing across the finish line by God's grace and God's grace alone.
Pecs.
Yeah.
Was she wrong?
No, but I'm just saying, it just kind of, it stuck out to me a little bit when the commentators brought it up. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But you're right. They are in two very different cars. I didn't think about that.
Too.
But
all
how
right,
the mighty have fallen.
We are gonna have to power through this race, y'all.
Oh
We
yeah,
are.
where are we now?
We just finished Q3. Oscar got pole, Max got second.
Damn.
Lando got fourth. I know we are making no progress talking about it, but because we're having so much fun talking about it.
It was a great weekend.
It was a really good weekend.
It was a really great weekend.
This is just gonna be a long episode.
It's gonna be a long ass episode. And hey, that's okay. All right. That's okay. So we start. They never settled the Oscar bullshit, so it is what it is. They never settled the Ollie bullshit, so it is what it is. And we have Max and Oscar lining up next to each other, and then we have George and Lando lining up next to each other. It's a dry race. Lots of people are on mediums up front. The Ferraris are on hards. Or maybe Ferraris.
I thought
strategies.
Charles was on mediums.
Yeah, Charles was on mediums, and Lewis was on a hard. They split strategies. And this is where we start going into the race, Borleys. And let me tell you, lap 1, turn 1, Max Emilian Verstappen reminded bitches
I am
what it is.
I am.
It is. He reminded bitches what the score is. Because he did a beautiful overtake. A stunning, beautiful overtake. And in fact, I think it's very ironic that he actually did Oscar's overtake on Oscar. Because this is the same kind of move Oscar did on Lando at Monza. And I, loved it when Oscar did it. Love it even more when Max does it. Oh, it was beautiful. And it was great, especially because every time that we have a lap 1, turn 1 overtake, we spend the next 10 laps talking about whether or not it was okay, and if somebody's going to get a penalty, and bitching on
that actually only really happened when it's Max and Lando, to be honest, y'all.
That's true. And we spent a lot of time in turn 1. No, it happened when it was Oscar and Lando too. They were bitching each other out over that goddamn radio and Monza like crazy.
Factor is Lando.
That is true. But we, thankfully, thank God, Max was just on the outside, but kept a wheel in and overtook.
I think he kept all his wheels in.
So we didn't even have to talk about it.
I think Max kept all his wheels in.
And I'm proud of him for it. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, I think it was a really good overtake, and I think the way you can tell it was so good is because no one had any, complaints about it. Because it was so clean and crisp.
Did you just give Max Verstappen a compliment?
No.
Okay.
Feel how you want to.
Whatever you
Don't
say,
try me, y'all. Y'all better not try me. I am tired.
Listen, you're allowed to feel how you want to feel. But we get
I have given that man a compliment before. Remember when we did our rankings last season and I made him a 9?
Listen, your compliments for the Verstappen young man are few and far between. So I just felt the need to mark that momentous occasion.
That's right.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, but we got a beautiful lap 1, turn 1 overtake. It was stunning.
Fabulous.
It looked like for a second like Norris was about to snatch George and Max's places, but as per usual, that did not happen.
Nope.
And we end up with Max ahead, Oscar in second, George in third, and Lando in fourth. And I think this is critical.
Yes.
Because I think this basically decides the race at this point. Because Max gets some nice, clean, free open air, and the upgrades on the Red Bull are clearly working. He pulls a second and 0.25 on Oscar in one lap. So he's getting his free clear air, and he's leaving the rest of them behind to duke it out, to be scrappy, to do a little fighting.
Okay.
Loved that. We then get... I laughed looking at my own notes, sorry. We then get Charles and Gasly fighting for some godforsaken reason.
For what, 11th?
The besties are fighting.
Yes, they were fighting for 11th, which I thought was just really...
And I'm
really
like, I'm like, you fight for every point, yeah. But y'all are basically running each other off the track for 11th. That's not even a point.
Yeah, Charles puts that man in the gravel, but not really, because he didn't really put him in the gravel. I know. But Charles puts that man in the gravel, which I thought was really funny. Of him. I support you and your wrongs, King. But it basically amounts to nothing because he doesn't actually put Gasly in the gravel. He just spooks Gasly enough that he goes into the gravel himself. Which is the thing that you gotta do. And then I feel like we have a pretty chill time until lap 12. Did anybody have anything that happened of critical note?
I don't think
Felicia?
Ocon had to change his tires after lap 1.
Lap 1.
What?
Ocon, he took one lap and dove into the pits.
Which tire was he on?
I think he was on the softs.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure he started on the softs and he went in for the mediums. Or hards.
I was just surprised. I was like, what is Haas doing that this man couldn't even make it?
One lap.
Not even a quarter of the race. Well,
I mean, I guess he got his formation lap. So 2 laps.
Anyway, that's the only thing I think that was missing. I was just surprised that
I didn't even notice that happened.
Yeah, no,
because
Ocon.
you probably blinked and you realized that man was in the pits and he was gone.
They only took like 2 seconds.
It was very much a flash, like, oh gosh, he couldn't make it more than one lap on these tires.
Like, I think the commentators were like, what is Haas doing? I'm like, I don't even know.
But I think very early on, even though you don't really see a lot of movement till lap 12, but very early on, you start hearing complaints. Yeah, I ain't gonna make it.
Yeah,
we got to go to another strategy.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm talking about. I want them spooked, scared, and bamboozled. I want them sitting here going, I don't know how I'm going to go do this. And then see what happens.
You want the reaction of George getting out of the car. Not George. Charles getting out of the car. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, yes. God.
I want them on their toes. You know, like, sometimes they're going to put on the C6s and it'll work great for the track. Other times they're going to put on the C6s and they'll be dead after one turn.
Yep.
And listen, you better pay those strategists some good money to figure it out.
Yep. I mean, they said it. The C6s are for the street races.
Yeah.
So get ready for Monaco.
Get ready. It's spooky, scary.
Don't.
I think Monaco has mandatory pit stops now.
2.
Ooh.
Yeah. This will be the first time they try it.
So we'll see.
It's going to be strategy heavy on that one.
But no, I don't think they would put the C6s for Monaco.
No.
Good shot. They also don't need to if you're mandating pit stops.
Yeah.
This is true.
But all right, so then Lando finally gets past George in lap 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do my normal conversation about how the fuck did it take you 11 laps to get past this man.
Well,
because we all know.
Well,
also at some point before lap 12, Charles pit. I didn't see him pit, but he undercuts Russell and manages to get ahead of him when Russell then pits in lap 12. And I want to remind everybody that these bitches were on mediums.
They're on mediums.
Yes. Lasted 12 out of 60-something laps.
63 laps.
This is what dreams are made of.
Barely, like it was like what, less than a fifth of the race?
Yep. Yes. And this is exactly what a Gordy like me likes to see. Yeah, I want to see some pitting on lap 7 because your tires are dog shit and they're the medium tire.
Girl.
This is what I love. I love it. Anyway, this is exactly what I wanted. I thought it was really funny, and Bex is the one who noted it, that Alonso was in the pit and pressed his brakes so hard that his brakes immediately caught on fire.
Oh, yeah.
As he was leaving the pit.
Yes.
And you just see one, and then the other just lights up.
I was like, what did he do? I was like, how do you leave a pit and then catch on fire? Like, what are we doing here?
I was talking about it with my friend, because this has happened to Alonso a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alonso just brakes harder in the pits than other people. That's what I think is happening genuinely. I think he just pits. I think he just brakes harder than other people.
Jesus.
Interesting. It was just a very interesting sight to see.
I agree.
Okay.
Speaking of interesting sights,
Go ahead.
we then see the interesting sight of Oscar in the pits, getting a slow as fuck pit stop.
What was it? 3 seconds and some change? 3.2?
3 seconds.
And I think this is kind of where people eyebrows started to raise, like what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, to kind of like delve back into.
My eyebrows were all the way up.
And
the thing is, yes, and it's actually not because it was a bad pit stop time. That's actually not what my eyebrows were up about. That is not the kind of tomfoolery sabotage that I think McLaren would get up to. That's some Mercedes level sabotage, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the act of, one, pitting your driver who is
in the lead
first in this situation. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you pit him first?
It does when you're trying to sabotage him.
Exactly. When the person that you pit first is the person who is more likely to have to go on a two-stopper without a safety car, which you don't currently know is the correct thing. You guys think that you could honestly get a one-stopper out of this. So by that logic, you put Lando into the pits first, force him onto the two-stopper, and then see how Oscar's tires do, see how the hard tires do, and then you make a decision on Oscar based off the data you have from Lando. And instead, they prioritize Lando and guarantee themselves, basically, second place. Because they neuter the guy who could have actually caught Max for no reason.
Wow.
It was infuriating. I was watching that pit and I was just like, what do you mean they're pitting him right now?
Because they're dumb.
Well, I don't think they're dumb, actually. I think that this is exactly what they wanted to happen.
I think it's exactly what they want to happen. I just think it is just, like we said earlier, it is a bit frustrating. Like we said earlier, it's a bit frustrating to see like it happened to Oscar because he's such a good driver.
Exactly.
Oscar is such a good driver,
and just
he really
little being.
He really could win the championship.
He really
year,
could.
And I don't think his team is giving him their full throated support.
Like,
so
y'all need to really act like this man is a contender because he is, and you're just sweeping him under the rug like he's not.
Not only is he a contender, like he's the current championship lead.
Yep.
All signs point towards, unless Lando has some major confidence and skill swing,
no,
Oscar's going to win. Between the two of them, at least, there's still honestly a chance that these Red Bull upgrades that they're about to bring an upgrade package every single fucking race for the next couple races, bring Max back, and it becomes a moot point. You know. But as of right now, McLaren is going to win the Drivers' Championship, and they are making it an impossibly close race to the point that, like, you're actually making things more difficult for yourself down the line if you get them so close that you can't actually justify screwing one of them later.
Yeah.
Your better bet is to let them scrap it, let one of them keep winning, and then go fuck the other one. And instead, they're going to do this to try and keep them close so they can make the decision of Lando. But if we're keep on this trajectory, they're going to be close but Oscar ahead.
Yeah.
And so then, what are we doing here?
But then, they let them duke it out a little bit during this race.
Well, they let them duke it out because Oscar's tires were dead at the end, and there was no shot Lando wasn't getting past him.
Valid, yes.
Yeah.
That's why they let... It's the same thing as like how
saying?
Mercedes used to be like, yeah, we'll let George and Lewis fight, and then we'll pit Lewis a lap later. Where it's like, of course I'll let you fight. It's not going to matter.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I'm like, you let them fight when it's very clear Oscar can't have a fair fight. Like, he doesn't have a fair shake in the fight.
Yes, that's their ultimate goal.
Trash.
It's infuriating and upsetting to me. But yeah, Oscar pits, hate that. Oscar comes out of the pit and he's trying to set his outlaps, and Red Bull is telling Yuki, hey, hold Oscar up. Like, be Checo in Abu Dhabi. Yuki is not Checo in Abu Dhabi.
No, he's not.
He don't hold that man up for nothing.
No, he literally said,
He tried.
He ain't do jack shit.
Did Yuki even make it a full lap with that man behind him? Okay.
It was sad.
He tried.
He did try.
We love a Yuki effort.
Exactly. And that's what matters.
Yes.
Is if he tried.
Yes.
So, love that for him.
Yes. Because effort wins championships.
It does.
Eventually.
It does. All right. After Yuki can't hold him back, we putz along. And this is about the point where I started to process that McLaren was sabotaging Oscar. Yeah. So we keep going. Keep going. I believe that McLaren pits Lando. I want to say definitely a good couple laps after Oscar. So it's in the 20s that they start pitting him.
Oh my.
But I don't remember when. Lap 29 is when they pit Lando.
Jesus.
And it is sadly a very good pit. Max still isn't pitting at this point. And I'm sure you guys know me. I was crashing out.
Oh, I know.
I was freaking the
As
fuck
it
out.
kept happening,
Because he was on mediums, right?
Yes, and he was losing time to Lando.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was still on the mediums.
I was crashing out on my couch. I was like, please, no.
Yeah.
Please, let my boy live. Let him win. He needs this win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he, like I was saying earlier, there was some beneficiary, some good luck and bad luck. And I think he got all of the good luck for the whole
I think
entire
Max
race.
had insanely good luck this
great
race.
luck.
Like, every time something happened, I was like, well, this is the safety car that ruins him. And it actually would be the safety car that benefited him. And I'm like, this shit never happens to us.
Yep.
This is great.
He got the
Well,
luck for the entire
Not
race.
never. Not never. It has happened before.
I was
But-
about to say.
Now, mind you, why did the safety car come out?
I actually don't even remember who crashed.
Esteban.
Ocon.
Esteban,
he was
he didn't
doing.
crash. His car gave out, right?
Yeah, his car gave
Yeah.
out. And he
Sucks
just had
for
to
my
pull off
baby.
for your baby.
Esteban's one of my background guys.
Is he really?
I think he's fun. I think he's cool.
I
I
think he's
kinda-
weird.
Okay.
I find this weird thing with Pierre, where Pierre and him remind me of that Taylor Swift quote about Tears Ricochet, where it's like, oh, the best villain hero stories are always the one where the villains and the hero used to be best friends,
Yep.
and they know each other so well, but like that's the thing that hurts
Yep.
bad.
Because they
Is
know
that
each other so well and they're no
It's
longer.
the person that knows you so well
Yeah.
and no longer does.
I mean, we had another one of those on the grid historically, from what I have heard. And that didn't end up too well. So granted, they're on separate teams, so I feel like that helps. But now
They were.
That's why I said now.
Yeah,
But
but
they used to run into each other. What the fuck?
The problem was just that they weren't good enough to actually be making a noise or a fuss about
Okay, wow. Well, didn't one of them sleep with the other one's girlfriend or something like that?
supposedly that's the rumor.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, rumor. Excuse me. All alleged.
That's the rumor on the street.
Uh-huh.
Is it Pierre something? That's one's girlfriend.
it. But yeah, brought out Ocon's crash brought out a virtual safety car.
Yes.
Yes, virtual safety car. And so this is when Max pits. Thank God.
Yep.
He only loses 18 seconds into the virtual safety car, so the girlies are happy. The girlies being me and the rest of the Max girlies.
Oh, which Gorley
and
are
then
you talking about?
Everybody dives into the pits.
Yes. This is the thing that I love about any race where there's a safety car during a pit window where like it makes sense.
Uh-huh.
It's just the chaos.
Okay.
They're diving.
And it was surprised. The thing that surprised me was the people coming in for a second pit stop. I was like,
Because
Did
Charles
you
comes
just
in
get
for a second
tired?
pit stop or something.
Charles came in for a second pit
And
stop.
was this the point where he started complaining that it always happens to him or something like that?
Yes, Charles was like, it's always fucking me who gets screwed by these fucking.
He was very dramatic this weekend.
Charles
I don't know if it
was
was
sassy
the
this
Italian air.
Maybe.
I loved it for him.
Something.
I felt for him because I fear that he's like I saw this tweet where it's like oftentimes people think Leclerc fans are like making excuses for him when they say the things that happened to him.
But he actually does get like fucked over sometimes,
He gets
and
fucked
sometimes
over
it's purely
so
by
often.
chance.
That's what I said. I think some of it was bad luck this weekend, but I think what happened at the end of the race for him, that was just poor Ferrari strategy again.
I mean,
Always.
they have to have that in
The
there
two
somewhere.
the two things that happened to him at the end with the tires and then with the Williams.
Well,
For real. But yeah, we get bitches pitting.
everybody.
Pitting.
In the virtual
They
safety
did a
car,
double
virtual-
stack with Ferrari. They did both of them.
Yes, they do both of them. And we end up with Max still out front because he, got his shit together.
Yep.
Lando is in. God, I don't even know what block he's in. But basically, at this
Second.
point, Oscar's in fourth.
Yes.
What to say?
And so they end, and we have Max, Norris, Albon. Williams are being sneaky guys with Albon. Piastri, Hodger, Antonelli, Lewis, Leclerc, Alonso, and Stroll making up our top 10.
My one thing is, Lewis, how are you being led by two rookies?
That's true. And guys, with that, I think it might be time for the
Rookie review.
All right, let's talk about our rookies this week. Hodger
Come on.
did so good.
Isaac is killing it.
Isaac is doing a really good job.
He came to play no games with anybody.
Could we be looking at Isaac Hodger, future world champion?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
You know what? Bite me. I
Sorry,
believe
I
in my
didn't
boy
say it like that.
Isaac. I believe in him.
I think
Like,
You know
I'm
what?
not saying
I
like
think
next year or anything, but
No, of course not.
I don't think. Who knows what Isaac could be? Because I really didn't think Oscar was that guy either. So, and it only took him 3 years.
And I did.
Okay, congrats.
When
You want
I-
a cookie?
I'll be honest, when I first saw him on Netflix, I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. That
You're
first
all
look,
like,
I mean,
That first
Well, you
look-
know what
no,
takes time.
I'm not even talking about. I'm not talking about looks. I'm just talking about driving. Like Oscar was good. He was decent, but I just didn't think he was coming out there to make noise like that.
yeah.
And he's shaking the table.
Okay.
Do you know what that reference is from?
I do, but not off the top of my head right now. I do
Not
know
really.
the reference because I say it, but I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I'm
I
sorry.
think
I'm
people forget
tired.
that Oscar took a
I'm
year
tired. I don't know right now, Beth.
Yeah.
off. People forget Oscar took a year off because he won Formula 3 and Formula 2 in a row.
Oh yeah, he couldn't.
He couldn't? What do you mean?
Well,
Because
not
once
couldn't,
you
like,
win F2, you can't go back.
Oh,
Oh.
right. Yes.
And so, he won, and then there wasn't a spot.
He was a reserve driver for Alpine.
Alpine. And
Yeah.
then he left, and Alpine was... Who was at Alpine back then? They were not happy with him.
Alonso left, and then they tried to get Oscar, and then Oscar was like, fuck you guys, I signed a contract. And then they got Ocon and Gasly.
No. I'm saying who was over Alpine?
Otmar.
Otmar. Because remember, Otmar took it a little personally when Oscar left.
A lot, personally.
Okay, well, I tried.
But
I tried.
anyway, Hodger doing stunningly. Antonelli, I think, ends up doing, okay for a rookie, not good enough for himself.
No, and
You
not
know?
at his home GP, too. I kind of felt bad for him, not going to lie.
That was very
I was like,
sad.
you brought your whole class on a field trip and then is it his worst race to date?
I mean, I definitely vibes based it's his worst race.
You know? I was just like, oh, poor
That's-
kid.
I mean, he didn't finish it, so I would assume that's his worst race, guys.
Oh, wait, I forgot.
Yeah, he didn't.
I was about to say, what are y'all talking about? He didn't
You're
finish the
right.
race.
You're so right. He didn't even
Wait, I don't even
finish
remember
the
what happened to
race.
him.
He's the one who brings out
Crashed.
the second safety car.
Yeah.
The actual safety car, not the virtual.
Not the
safety
virtual
car.
one, the real safety car. I forgot.
And he didn't even crash.
What
if
did
I'm
he
not
do?
mistaken. He didn't crash.
His car, like, he had an issue and he had to stop.
He just pulled over.
Oh. Okay.
It's just that he pulled over above where Ocon had pulled over.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't actually get him, like, rolled out quickly.
Yeah.
So they had.
So
to
that's
bring
why
up
that's
the
the
safety
bring.
car. Okay.
But yeah,
Y'all crack me up.
This is a sucky race for
I
him.
thought y'all were being really sweet and kind and saying, "Oh, wasn't that great?"
No, girl.
We
I
forgot.
would be satisfied with him, but I just forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
But, alright. We then get our VSC, and also, sorry, notably,
Mm-hmm.
Oscar has already pit by the time this VSC comes out,
Yep.
CCC.
and they pit him again.
Yep. Sure do. He was only out for a couple laps, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was only out for like 20 laps on hards.
Hard.
So yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he
Yep.
was only out for 20 laps on hards. And this is critical information because the next time that something interesting happens, it is the safety car that Kimmy has.
Oh, baby.
And they pit Lando
Yep.
and put him onto beautiful brand new tires,
Yep.
leaving Oscar baby completely fucked.
Yep.
SOL.
Just out in the wind.
Yeah, and it's just like, guys, come on. And then it was so annoying because they were acting like this was like an actual like battle of like, oh, who's gonna get ahead? Who's gonna get ahead? I'm like, the guy with 20 lap fresher tires
Like, what
gonna
are you
get
talking
ahead.
I know. I was kind of irritated when, as they're like getting ready to restart the race, Lando's like, "Oh, like I'm not asking to be like let through, but let me." That's he's like, "Oh, I don't want to ask. I don't want to ask you let through, but I don't want you to make it like a battle." And I was like, "So you're asking him to let you through?
Like, what the fuck, bro?
It's begging. You're begging."
Yeah.
So
And that's okay, but just be honest.
just state what you want. Hey, let me through.
Just beg.
I got fresher tires.
Just beg.
Yeah. And you would have been completely correct in this one time because 20 lapped old tires are not going to defend against you.
Wow.
Like, it's not like it was 5 laps and Oscar could beat you by being a better defender. Like, it wasn't happening.
Well,
So I'm like,
which
just
is
say
why
it, bro.
McLaren did what they did because they knew that would
Yes.
happen.
Correct. And it's infuriating.
Trifling.
I would also like to point out that I think we need to talk about these Red Bull upgrades and how successful they were. I don't think people realized before this safety car, Max had 19 seconds
Yeah.
on Lando.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
it felt
the
like
pit strategy because they pit at the same times, basically.
Uh-huh.
it felt like Max of 2023, and I didn't like it.
Okay, Max.
Yes. Also notably during this pit stop, Lando like probably illegally overtakes Alex Albon under a safety car because Alex Albon reaches the safety car line first. The FIA never gives a fuck about anything that Lando does,
Oh.
and they let him off scot-free.
Well.
This is also about, in this safety car, I say about, it's exactly when it happens, where Charles starts asking Ferrari, hey, what kind of pit strategy can we do so I can get off these dog shit tires?
What was he on at that point?
Hards?
Yeah, he was on hards.
He was on old hards. And he starts asking,
Really
like,
old hards.
hey, how the fuck can I get off this shit? Like, what can we make move and shake so I get off these goddamn hards? And they go, hey, buddy, we ain't got shit for you.
What?
He's like, the thing that really irritates me is like, he basically, so they're under safety car. He's like, we don't have any tires that can get you through these last 17, 18 laps, I think it was. Something like that. That's how many laps was left.
Yeah.
And
He had 10 laps left.
listen,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
when he asked, it
Oh.
was 17 laps.
Sorry.
Yes.
17 laps.
Yes.
And you can actually hear them commentating. They said, yeah, like right now, sure, it's 17 laps, but the safety car is probably only going to be like 10 laps of racing.
Yeah.
They put it. They had a tire that they could have put on his car that he could have gone full speed, full throttle for 10, 11 laps.
Yes.
Agreed.
And I think Ferrari is just in there phoning it in, being like, you're asking us to do too much work.
Which,
and we don't want to.
What?
That's what it felt like to me. Because I'm like, just think, like, the commentators, everyone else is like thinking, like, oh, he's asking as soon as a safety car came out.
Yep.
That's 17 laps.
Yep.
There is going to be a time. There's time for you to, get new tires.
There's more than
and he's
enough
not
time.
going to be going full racing speed for 17 laps. He actually ended up only doing, I think, 10 or 11 laps full racing speed. Those softs he had could have done that.
Wow. And
I think it was just a bit frustrating that Ferrari could not help out Charles. Sure,
like
there you go. Would not help out Charles. Or I think just even take the second to just like
think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it and like think it fully through. Like everyone else seemed to do very quickly.
They never want to think anything through fully.
But
and
also, Charles is the one in the car. He knows what the car feels like. If he's telling you, hey, this ain't working out, at least take it into consideration.
No. They knew he was struggling. They were just like, well, we don't have any laps to get you through 8:17. Because I think it was the softs that were left. And I do think they were actually right that the softs could not. He would be teetering, going 17 laps full racing speed on those softs. But he wasn't going full racing speed for 17 laps.
You're right. Heard.
So that's where, and I think if they just taken a second to be like, well, you know, do you know what I always think, like when you actually like hear, y'all have heard, it was circulating for a while, I think toward the end of last season. That video, well, it's a video, but it's also mostly like audio, where we hear James Val, who was working at Mercedes at the time, do that pit stop with Lewis and like the strat. I forgot what race it was.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But that's like when you think of someone who's like actually like, who's innovative with the strategy, wants their driver to do well, like wants their driver to win, and is willing to like to throw out a risky strategy. Hey, if it doesn't work, we lose, or we get worse off because I mean Charles wasn't winning. But I just think I think Ferrari needs like a James Val in their corner right now.
And Ferrari is like unwilling to just do anything. It seems like they are so stagnant in the way that they go about every decision.
Yeah.
That's just like, what made you think that this was like what was genuinely their plan? Because like the thing is, Charles brings up a very valid topic, even if there isn't an answer he's gonna like, right? Which he brings up, what is y'all's plan?
Yep.
For how in the fuck I survive a restart?
Yep.
With the oldest tires of anybody near me. Right? He's basically saying, you tell me your plan. For how that one's going to work for us.
Yep.
And they basically just go like, oh, well. And it's like, bro,
you don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer. And guess what? Sometimes we don't have an answer. And that's fine, I guess. But like, I need you to have
figure one out.
Yeah. I need you to have something that feels like a real viable answer. So that when you come to me and you go, hey, you're fucked, I at least feel like, okay, I'm fucked because of XYZ reason that is not my team's incompetence.
Yes.
Like, you're making it feel, whether it's true or not, like you guys don't know what's going on, and that's why he's fucking up. And like nobody wants to feel that way about their team when you guys could just do exactly what James Valls did, where it's like, hey, we can do this risky strategy.
Mm-hmm.
We can, you know, play it safe and accept that we're going to drop some places, or we can, you know, pit initially drop some places and pray we can catch it up even as the tires degrade.
Mm-hmm.
And you will probably come to the conclusion of what ended up happening, which is it ideal to start on these tires? No. But we can honestly do enough to get an okay result out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, because that, at the end of the day, that's probably the answer. Like, it is probably not going to work if you try to pit for these fucking softs, right? Like, that's not going to happen. But you have to make him feel good about it.
Absolutely.
And they're not good at that at all.
They're not good at a lot of things.
All right, so we have Lando passing Oscar, hate it.
Mm-hmm.
We have Charles begging for new tires, he doesn't get them. And then we get our last notable thing, which is the Ferraris versus Alex Albon. So we have the Ferraris going after Alex Albon, specifically Charles going after Alex Albon, and we have Charles attacking, managing to get past him, but it's a bit of a kerfuffle. Alex is kind of pushed off by Charles, but this also lets Lewis through, so we love that. And then it starts to come up that Charles may be hit with forcing another driver off the track.
Yes.
Me, myself, and I don't think he forced him off the track. I think Alex made a late lunge that didn't work out for him.
I think also he got a little spooked.
Yes.
And so it was just it was Alex's fault that he lost the position.
Yeah, like it didn't look to me like Charles pushed it off. But Ferrari ordered Charles to give it back. There was a whole thing. Ultimately, he was under investigation for it, which generally means in that kind of situation that you might get a penalty. So he ended up giving back. He ended up not getting a penalty for it. But it sounds like they were going to penalize him.
They may have.
Based on the FIA documents. So it was the ultimately correct choice to give it back. But I just don't like it. Because I don't think he should have done it.
I didn't like it either because I just felt like it wasn't actually any type of infraction.
No.
Agreed.
And I just felt like, if I'm not mistaken, this is where also Charles kind of had a little bit of an outburst as well. Because when they tell him to give the position back, and he does, and then not that long after they say, you're under the investigation, he was like, well, then why did I give the position up? And I'm just like, he actually is right. Ferrari, what are y'all doing? But he had a rough race. He had the roughest race, I think. Well, besides the two people who crashed, I think he had a rough race.
I mean,
honestly, I think he might have had a better race if he crashed.
I was about to say, I'm like, the two people who crashed, at least, you know, something
they got together to separate.
You know, they got something. That's why I was like, He probably got to a point where he was like, I wish I would have just crashed. Shit.
No, he gave his team points.
He did give his team points. He did.
Hey, at least he didn't do what Lewis loves to do when Lewis is in a bad mood and he's losing, which is ask to retire the guy.
To be honest, that still tickles me every time I think about that. That he really was like,
can I just go home?
Stop.
Can we just finish this?
No. We cannot just retire.
No, Lewis.
No.
Was that Bono who was saying that to him? The no Lewis?
It had to have been.
Yeah, it was Bono because we obviously have the famous "I know it's a piece of shit, but just drive it." That was a different race.
That wasn't Bono.
That was Toto, and that was a different race.
Yeah, that was Toto.
Right. I know the car is shit. Just drive it.
All right. Well, that is all I have for the main race. We end up with Max Verstappen winning to the cheers of the Tifosi.
Which was kind of wild to me. But...
Well, the Tifosi hate McLaren, so.
Okay. I didn't understand. I was like, why
the
are they...
Tifosi were thrilled.
I was like, they seem really happy for Max to win.
The Tifosi were thrilled that a McLaren didn't win in Tifosi land.
I heard. Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay.
Yes.
That's hilarious, though.
I thought it was very funny. But We ended up having a Max win, a Lando second, and an Oscar third. Honestly, not gonna lie, I was really sleepy, so I didn't watch any post race. Do you guys have any post race stuff?
I didn't watch Jack.
Well,
I
anything
didn't
fun
really
in the
watch.
cool down room?
I watched the cool down room, but could I tell you what happened in it?
Go ahead.
No.
Oh,
Nothing fun enough then.
No, nothing that memorable. Not like everyone being naked in the cool down room.
what?
Yeah.
That happened
There was
like
one
last
time
week.
when they were like stripping like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. If
Was it
was
like
really hot
Singapore or something?
No, it was
No,
like
it was
earlier
like a
this
very
year.
temperate. It was like a very temperate race.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, because if you told me they were doing that after Singapore, I'd be like, yeah, of course they were.
No, girl, I think it was something very temperate. But yeah, that's our.
Oh wait, hold on though. Apparently, when they were replaying Alonso's brakes catching on fire, Lando goes, "Oh, look at that!" And then, oh, never mind. He just made a comment about there being more grip out on the dirt, but okay, whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's all we have for the race, which leads into our classic post-race segment. And my post-race segment, and we kind of answered this before the pod, but I still want to ask: Are you ladies watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
I am up to episode. I finished episode 7.
Damn.
Oh damn!
Didn't I say it just
already
came
episode
out?
1. Listen, it's good.
It is
I'm
good.
not-
It is
I
good.
didn't.
I'm
I didn't
waiting.
know. Like I actually binged it, so I started watching it Friday, and
Dang.
I got to episode 7 by Saturday.
I think I'm gonna binge tomorrow.
Ooh.
It is quite entertaining, I will say. What else do I have to say about it? I think one thing I find very interesting about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is that it is very up and down.
Wait,
Like
Felicia, do you know are you?
I've watched season 1. I just haven't watched season 2.
Okay.
I've watched all of it.
Okay.
so like it's like the up and downs of how you like someone. Like you can start off hating someone, then liking them, then hating them again in the same season. You can go from liking someone to like, and it's very much. And to be honest, I have got to say, watching it, I realized I don't actually like any of them.
Yeah.
But I just find them all very fascinating, and I find Mormon culture very fascinating. Like, oh my gosh, we can't drink caffeine, but let's do ketamine.
Correct.
Like,
Here's
oh my
my
god, we
thing.
don't drink.
But let's put
I
all
love
the
the show.
Botox in my face.
Yes, I love the show because I think it's great, and I think honestly, any show that enables highlighting of how like cognitive dissonance works will always be a show that I enjoy watching. And I say that especially with that show because they are like the most cognitive dissonance people I think I've ever like witnessed on TV. Because there's this thing where the women have convinced themselves that they are fighting the patriarchy one step at a time.
That is insane to me.
Insane.
That being like the thread that runs through like up until where I am. I literally was watching. I was like, these women really think they're solving world hunger by being in Mom Talk.
Yes.
Like they think that they are fighting the patriarchy by being the breadwinners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are undermining a single aspect of your traditional patriarchal relationship with your husband. That is about it. Because you're still letting your husband tell you what to do
with the money that you're
with
making.
the money that you are breadwinning from TikTok.
Okay.
Right? Evidenced by the whole Jen casino thing last year.
Oh.
Like, there is no world in which I'm letting my husband tell me what to do with my Mom Talk money or letting him go spend $10K of it at the casino.
Hello.
Hell no.
You better take this cute little grand that I give you and go have fun, sweetheart.
Exactly.
Well,
so that's the thing that we'll get. We can't spoil on Jen and what's his face. I don't even remember his name.
Fine.
Yeah.
But we're gonna let Felicia get to that. But
no, I heard.
Okay.
What have you heard? Never mind. Don't answer.
Yes, but.
No, but sure.
No.
Like my main thing about it is I find much interest in anybody who joins a traditionalist, restrictive sect of Christianity and thinks they can be that sect without the traditional restrictiveness.
Who?
When the point is the restrictiveness.
Who are you?
There is something to be said about Protestantism, which is that it's inherently supposed to be a slightly more progressive rejection of Catholicism. Right? So if you are a Protestant and you have these ideas of like, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that, you're honestly probably right. And you're actually speaking to the heart of Protestantism, which is looking at a traditionalist sect of Christianity and going, I don't like what you're doing over there. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yes.
Right? That's why there's so many different types of Protestantism.
Yes.
You then get to the Catholics and the Mormons. And I find great issue with the ones who go, I don't have to do the basis of the thing. Right? Where it's like, sometimes you have the basis of the thing that you're ignoring, and I'm like, you're just an evangelical, and that's okay. But you're just an evangelical, right? Like the Catholics who slander the Pope. I'm like, you don't believe in the papacy then, and that's so Gucci. I can introduce you to a lot of other people who also don't actually believe in the papacy. They're called Protestants. Wow. Same thing with the Mormons, where they're like,
that's sacrilegious to them.
Yeah, I'm like, they're like, I think I should be able to shoot myself up with ketamine and still be Mormon. And I'm like, I have a whole group of people to introduce you to who love doing drugs and still love Jesus. They're called mega church evangelicals. I can introduce you to a couple of them. You and Joel Osteen could link some hands, girl. Okay? Why are we sitting here pretending? Like,
Joel might also be doing the ketamine, allegedly.
I watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I watch the way that they quote-unquote reject the patriarchy. And I'm like, honestly, most of this rejecting the patriarchy sounds like you guys just don't want to do some of the things you have to do. And you're like, this is me rejecting the patriarchy because I don't want to wear my garment. And I'm like, the garment is patriarchal. You rejecting to wear it because you want to have your tits out because it's more comfy is not, like you guys are technically doing it, but, like, not really. Like, if somebody told you, hey, you can keep all the Mormon patriarchy, but you never have to wear your garment again, you guys would say yes.
Absolutely.
In a heartbeat.
In a second.
And so I'm just like,
do any of them even wear their garments? I think Jen does, but do the rest of them?
Jen wears her garments.
Yeah.
I don't know, obviously, what she's actually got going on. But Jen...
Oh, doesn't that other girl with the bob wear her garments too?
No.
No? Okay.
Layla?
No.
She's talking about Whitney.
There we go. That one.
Oh, Whitney doesn't wear her garments, no.
Okay.
I don't know. I've seen some things that Jen has worn recently, and I don't think she could have worn her garments.
I don't think she's wearing her garment anymore. And I also take such great issue with these women when they're like, the Mormon church thinks we're misrepresenting them. I'm like, you are.
You are.
You actually are.
You are misrepresenting them. And the thing is...
And that's okay.
And the thing is, is their reasoning for why they're saying you're misrepresenting them, like, cool, fun, and whatever? No. They're saying you're misrepresenting them for, like, misogynist reasons, and also because you're misrepresenting them, right? But you guys are trying to peddle to the public that you can be cool and progressive and non-restrictive Mormons. And I'm like, but the point of Mormonism is the restriction.
Yes.
The point is that you're better than other Christian sects because Joseph Smith came down and gave you additional doctrine that teaches you how to live.
Are you taking us on the Cliff Notes version of Mormonism?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, that is the point. That is the point, is that you have additional doctrine from Joseph Smith that makes you superior to other sects of Christianity.
Crazy.
So
Sorry.
So if you throw out that doctrine as ridiculous and restrictive,
yes,
you're just evangelicals.
You're not a Mormon. No, because I think it was like I was confused. This season actually got a little bit confused with their religion because this year, if this season focused a lot less on their Mormonism, Mormonism. Because I think last year it was like, remember, because it was like the Saint Sinners. It was very much like Kate, it was like Macy,
Oh yeah,
Michaela. They were like, oh no, Jen and Whitney, we are the proper Mormons.
Yep.
We don't do that stuff. Those heathens over there.
Yep.
But this season, you don't, like, they really start talking about being Mormon. Like, it's like the underlying portion, but it's not that much of a conversation, at least in the 7 episodes I've gotten through. It's just not. And I think it's like, it really got me confused, because at one point I think someone was like, oh, Jesus was a Mormon, and I was like, what are y'all talking about?
Oh my
It's ridiculous. But
I mean,
I
these
don't know,
are the same people who are taught that God made us black because we were part of the evil people before in the before Earth.
Shut the fuck up.
God help us all. I never understand Black Mormons.
What's her name? That one
We
girl?
can't get into Black Mormons, or else we're gonna have to get into how Layla had 2 children and no orgasms by the time she was 22.
Crazy.
We can't even get into that.
She can the fact that it continues, it's just through season 2, so what, the next year, absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And you're in a relationship.
Isn't she married? Isn't she wholly married?
She's not married.
No, she got divorced.
Oh, Layla, I think
right.
If I'm not mistaken, Layla's the only one that's like fully single throughout the show.
Yeah. Well, all right, Felicia, you got to catch up. I got to catch up. We'll yap more about it another time.
I'll catch up while I'm in Mexico next week.
There you go. Hey.
We got Monaco on Sunday.
Monaco on Sunday.
Monaco.
And listeners, you'll be hearing from us. It'll be great. We'll see how those mandatory 2 pit stops go. Knowing how I react to things, I'll probably love it, and everyone else will probably hate it. But that's okay. That's why we have
follow the leader, right type of race.
Yeah, that's why we have fandom. We'll see. But listeners, it was lovely talking to you.
Bye, guys.
Awkward pause. Okay.
All right. We'll catch
fun.
you next week.
Bye, listeners.
Bye, listeners.
Ta-ta.